The Ottoman Empire, backed up by the Persian Empire, is here invading Moscow. Russia is under attack, and now the Tsar's armies must defend their homeland. And what a great start to today's fight. I literally have pressed play. These Ottoman guerrilla units have appeared here, and they've immediately been routed. They've had about 1 or 2 gunfights here. And yeah, there you go. We've got some dragoons here of the Russians, immediately getting rid of those. And that is not a good start for the Ottoman Empire. We are, what, like, literally probably less than a minute into this. And we've already seen a bit of a catastrophe there for the Ottomans. Not a good start. But yes, the Ottomans and the Russians are at war with each other here. As are the Persians. They are also here as well. They've got some smaller points, some 9 points and a 5 point. We do have 2 11-point Ottoman armies here. So they're big, big Ottoman armies. I presume the Russians have similar core points to balance this out. But yeah, a Ottoman invasion is taking place here in as they try to invade Russian territory, and they march on Moscow, I'm guessing. And in this scenario that I'm making up for this battle here, I like the idea that, yeah, maybe the Ottomans are making a march onto Moscow in some green, sunny part of Russia right now. I mean, sunny maybe is not how I describe it, or Russia, but certainly a green part of Russia, maybe like Ukraine, are marching on towards Moscow. So we've got a storming of a building here taking place, as well as the Turks are still being profusely pushed back right now. And it looks like we're going to see a Turkish assault going in. I wouldn't call that unit crossing because those guys are running through their own lines. But it looks like they're going to maybe charge into the Russian units trying to go into the town. Looks like the Russian dragoons are going to respond. And I'd say that those Turks are going to lose that fight. Probably. Those Russian dragoons are pretty solid on their white horses. They're a very, very elite unit, if I remember correctly. And there you go. I mean, they might rout the Russians as well. The Russian infantry there just fired on friend and foe. And the farmhouse has been lost. There you go. The Russians have taken it. And a second Ottoman cav unit is on its way forward here as they go in to the dragoons. And this time they're going to try and get rid of this unit here. It's C4 going in, and it's managed to do it. There you go. Are they going to be able to get this general? They could have continued on and probably got him maybe there. If the Ottomans, and they might do it, you know, the Ottomans are moving on, and this Russian player here has got nothing to defend his general. They're going to continue, and they are going to get him. And what a start to today's game there. My gosh, are they going to get him? They're going to redline him. Orange, nope, he's stabilizing. He's trying to get out of there. Is that Russian general? And he is now being charged by a Russian guy. I feel like he should not have been able to get out of there. They pulled out of that combat. And he is very, very lucky there. I think that might have been a pull out of combat there from the general, which is technically a no-no. While that's all going on, over on this other side here, a mass assault has been started by the Russians. And they are trying to, yeah, break the Ottoman line here. They are not slowing down at all. This infantry is all just plugging on forward. This cav, which I presume is coming up to support, very late in arriving. There you go, general dead. That is now finally dead in here. Looks like that C4, a second C4 might have come in. It looked by the looks of it, and has managed to get rid of it. And there you go. Finally, that general has died. And there you go. The Russian assault here breaking apart. I mean, there's definitely looks like a bit of a pull through here going on from the cavalry. That is, yeah, a no-no. That's for sure. From the Ottoman player there as well. Pull throughs, whether it's like going through your own units like that, is a no. And also, like, sort of, you're not supposed to pull, like, units out of melee. So that general pulling out of melee was also a no. No, really. But there you go. What a great start to this game. I'm not even really be able to get an intro in or just say hello. Welcome to the channel if you're new. If you're not, welcome back to another Napoleonic battle as we continue with NTW 3, a glorious mod. I don't think I'd ever go back to Napoleon Total War, like, vanilla. NTW 3 is just the must-have. But yeah, if you're enjoying the content, if you want to see more chaotic battles like this, then do remember to support the channel. It really does help out. Do remember to leave a like, subscribe if you're around here. We're working towards 12k subs, which we're getting really close to. We're literally like less than 200 there away. So if you haven't also already subscribed and you want to see more content like this, I recommend you hit that sub button. and make sure you hit the notification bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or any videos for NTW3. We do loads of streams as well. It's a consistent Monday night fixture. So yeah, usually starts at like 8 UK time, and you go last for a couple of hours as we do try and get a couple of battles done there. Usually like a cool scenario battle and then a very chaotic custom usually. But yeah, this is one of those sort of chaotic customs, I guess, as we've got Turks and Persians here sort of working together. All quiet on this front here, just let's say. The Russians just sort of minding their own business. I don't know if they were going to continue to advance forward. We've got a general back here. But yeah, they look like they might try and continue to advance forward. I guess they've got to try and make a sucker punch somewhere. Right now, I mean, we've got some really strong pointers here. I mean, we've got the 9 points here for the Persians. Persians are some pretty good regular infantry as well, as you can see here. These are all like their regular line infantry, and they have got grenadiers available. Don't know if they brought them, but yeah, those are all sort of like their line infantry. Then they've got the lights here, which most of these guys can form square as well, so they're all really handy units. And I think this, and this is an L3 as well. I don't know if they have brought the grenadiers then. Oh, they have. They're all over here. They're all over here in their green. But yeah, very, very cool faction. Very, very handy sort of core to bring. And actually, it's not a bad one to bring, since like the Ottomans are like they're going for spam. They haven't gone for sort of like elite troops. So I'd say there's not really any janissaries I've seen. These are all like sort of light infantry, I would count them as. And they've done a really good job. They've actually managed to push back the Russians. Pretty much shatter them here. Which is great. The Ottomans have got Cav in the back. This is guerrilla Cav that could have spawned back here to start with. So we've got Balkan Delhi back here. Look like they're sniffing for generals. They want to move along the line, I personally think, to find some more options. And we've got a general here a bit under threat for the Ottomans as the Russians push forward. I guess going for the guns. The guns, I guess, as well can start blasting away. But there you go. The Russians just about break from the infantry here. These guerrilla units just blasting onto their flank. But yeah. We've started strong in this one. It's been very active early on. I think we're now going to have a bit more of a passive moment, certainly on that Russian left, Ottoman right. The Russians have kind of just barreled on in, and they've kind of been hurt pretty hard. On this side, the Russians are still coming forward. The Persians and the Turks look like they're going to hold around this town here and sort of hold this river line. I imagine that's kind of their plan. But yeah, you can see the map here, sort of. Like you can see the Persian army in the back over there, the blue, still arriving. But yeah, the Ottomans might be able to make a general advance. They don't necessarily need to. They've got a really good high point up there. Got a nice long hill that they can sort of control. It looks like the Russians with no general here. They're not going to push. The morale's going to be shattered. They're just going to have to make themselves a bit of a pest. Whether the Ottomans will now start to shift stuff down the line. They might want to try and retake the town. That's always an option. But yeah, Russians are now arriving. And it looks like Russians going in column formation, using this road for extra movement speed. It looks like they are going to barrel into the Persian artillery here. The Persian artillery setting up. It's firing down the road, and it is aiming at the Russians as they come up the road. See there from that sort of shot. They are blasting. Here comes all the cavalry. We've got lots of Dragoon units here. We've got a very big Dragoon unit, and then a slightly small one. This is the Russians of like 1807. So yeah, like the Russo-Turco wars, which do have cores. These aren't theaters of war. These are cores. Yeah, there's like a Russo-Turkish cores, and these are part of them. So yeah, they're still in their like not in their great patriotic war uniforms yet. It's still like the old style uniforms of the Russians. And here go the Dragoons. They're going in, firing canister as the artillery. And that might actually rout that Dragoon there. Yep, they rout on impact. And that was very lucky there for the gun. And there you go. The Persians set up here with their grenadiers in the front line, which hopefully can shoot pretty well since they're there. These guys can square as well, so they're going to be invulnerable to any cav charges. But yeah, they're getting ready for a all-out sort of Russian assault here. Here come the Dragoons. Are these guys going to form square? They are. Evidently, the Russian player didn't think that these guys could. And there you go, a beautiful volley there from the Turkish infantry has routed that very nicely. And yet, what a start for I would say the underdogs. I feel like the Russians, you know, pretty strong European power going up against, you'd say, slightly technologically disadvantaged Ottomans and Persians. Here goes infantry now. They've actually got blasted by canister too. Unfazed though, they go in. They might finally get the gun. If they can rout that, they might be able to affect the morale of the grenadiers around them, which are forming square. I would probably be targeting, certainly with the cavalry, I would have been targeting the Turks, not the Persians. That's for sure. Russians have gone in over here. It looks like they've routed. Looks like just a skirmisher. Managed to get that with some dragoons as well there, which is all well and good, but it's a very expensive risk. And here we go, more cavalry going in. This is Persian cav here, dueling with more Russian dragoons. Russian dragoons look like they're going to lose that one, maybe? Yeah, they do, and the Persians win that one, and the skirmishers here couldn't make the difference in the end. More cavalry going in for the Russians. Russia also along the line over here, starting to duel with the Persians. We've got big light infantry units here, and some slightly smaller ones as well. And it looks like, yeah, more Persian cav coming in, trying to rout just basically the Russian cavalry that's in here, and I think also the skirms, and then sort of charge into the flank here. There's still so much cavalry coming across. Look at all this cavalry coming across for the Russians. They have still got plenty. Which I can imagine the players like, we're going to need to bring loads because we're against Ottomans and Persians, which can bring a lot. Not necessarily quality, but just quantity. There you go. The Ottomans here redlining. This is where you need to be targeting. Absolutely. Got a tiny little dragoon in here as well, and that's going to be able to take advantage of none of these Ottoman units being able to square. Next line is going to blast those dragoons, that's for sure. My gosh, they are going to rout there. Infantry might be able to get in though, but these guys still can't form square. Persian grenadiers starting to rout. At least one of them is. I mean, you could just side shot this one here with Russian infantry, which is exactly what they're going to do now. We'll watch this execution take place. Here you go. In you go, boys. Blast away. Or maybe not. But yeah, you know what's going to happen. They're going to shoot each other. Russians are continuing on. Against line infantry, I don't know how well the Persians really melee, to be honest. I've not really played them enough to know. Russians, though, have been forced back here by the Ottomans. And the Ottomans are shooting from across the other side of the river, which is probably helping their melees. And actually, they're encircling the Russians here. I didn't even realize they're pushing across, and they're actually encircling because the Russians are throwing everything into this effort here. Ottomans have been forced back there by the Russians. Looks like the Russians finally going to rout those Persian grenadiers that have held the outskirts of this town. In they go now into the, I thought, soft underbelly of the Ottoman infantry, but we'll see. They've held quite well. They're getting good volleys off, routing these Russians as they come in. Yeah, Russia's got to, like, he's just charging head on. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'd be hitting this gun if you could with some light cav and then trying to run maybe into the side of these infantry here. Because these are the lights, I think. So, yeah, they are probably not going to melee as well. Could be wrong. But yeah, the Russians just charging head on. And, I mean, if these guys get another volley off, they're probably going to be able to beat the Russians in a melee. Here they go. They're going to volley here. There you go. And orange lining, red lining. And they're going to charge in now. The Russian players almost just kamikazing, really. But still, more Russians appear over on this side here, and yeah, it just continues on and on. Pretty quiet over on the other side here. There is still a bit of a gunfight going on over there. Actually, Russia is making a cav charge into the Ottomans here, and like I said, none of these guys can really square, so cav has definitely got a chance. A lot of these Russians, without their general and morale, is a real problem here. That is, yeah, the only issue they're having. It looks like they've just leveled this building here, haven't taken it. The Ottomans are slowly taking the town back. Back over to the main fight as it is really now. Looks like we've got Russian dragoons here getting routed by some pretty good CPI calves, some C3s there. Russia is still storming into the building. I hope they got some solid grenadiers or something that can take this, because they are struggling to get through these Ottomans. Charging into line infantry here. These guys could have formed square but didn't. The Russian cav pretty happy as well, so that Persian infantry could be in real trouble here. Squares being formed elsewhere. Russia is breaking through, though. They are breaking through the Persian line. They finally go in for the guns there, get rid of them. But yeah, Persian infantry is breaking here under the pressure of the Russians. We've got some Persian cavalry here holding the line. The other 5-pointer Persia is still arriving, so he is still not yet on the field. So right now Russia has the number advantage, which is why they're being so aggressive and just being like almost sacrificing their troops. There you go. They are these like Persians are mass routing now. Like one unit breaks, the next one follows on, and there you go. They are shattering the Persian left. They're really good. Back over on this side here, so like that push from across the river has been forced back by the Russians. Russian infantry is continuing. Oh no, Russian cavalry is continuing across the river. We've got some C1s here, some Scipii cavalry. This is a really solid cav here. Expensive, it's like $2,000. They're going in. They go in with spear and shield, like they're from another archaic age. And the Russians are falling back. But their infantry is about to go in. And they're going to try and pin this cavalry in melee with a infantry charge. You don't often see that. 2 units going in there trying to charge them. Shame they didn't get a volley off first. The Russians just held a little longer. Could have got a nice side volley into that really elite cav there. Russia still really struggling to get into the inner parts of this town here. They're trying very hard though. They should really just probably cross over here, which they are doing now. Light infantry, just cross, work your way down the line. Building has been lost. As I say that they were trying to get themselves into the inner parts of these towns, they finally taken that farmhouse there. So that's very good for the Russians if you're rooting for them. If you're rooting for the Turks and the Persians, not so great. Turks over here look like they are just mopping up the Russians here, and then they'll be able to come over to the far side and deal with them, which like to the rest of the Russians that are arriving. Looks like Russian cav here though, still trying to cause a bit of an upset here, trying to deal with some Ottoman cavalry. Has done it. They might rout themselves. I'd probably get the cav out there. There's a big dragoon unit as well, redlining. There goes a rout. That should return, I'd imagine, unless he gets farmed down a little bit. But what a brutal fight this has been, and it's just been non-stop. It really has been. We got the Russian infantry here now going into a line fight, which I feel like Persia can't take this one here. They can just get outflanked and shot on the side in multiple areas here. I mean, it's starting to get isolated. It's no longer becoming a line fight, becoming a bit more isolated one-on-ones like this one here, which how the Russians are like in this fight, I do not know. And they're winning it, looking at morale. This unit's tiny. Looks like it is a grenadier unit. They've got this silly like feathers on their hats and their shakos, and they're winning that one. Persia's general here, Javed Khan, is right in the front lines. He needs to get back, though his 9-point has been pretty much shattered. We've got Russian infantry and cavalry right in the middle of this town square. They are massacring Ottomans in here. At least it feels like it is. It feels a bit like, I don't know, like Peterloo or something, a very urban area, which is cavalry cutting down guys left, right, and center. At least these guys have swords to defend themselves, unlike Peterloo. But if you don't know Peterloo Massacre, you can research it. Definitely a bit of a British war crime, even though they weren't really at war. And there you go, the Turks all getting routed, and I would say that probably had a massively had to do with the Russian cav that just thrown into the middle of that town. As you can see now, these Ottoman units here kind of don't really have anywhere to escape. They can try and force their way back this way, I feel like, towards the Russian cavalry. It's probably their best way out, because right now the Russians are encircling this small force here of Persians and Ottomans. But yeah, that has been brutal. The 5-pointer is finally arriving, as you can see here. I can't imagine his troops are going to be well disciplined like the 9-point. I imagine it's going to be a lot of militia. Yep, look at these units. 496-man units here. 312. These are active. These guys have been running. Jeez, that's not a good idea. But yeah, they are arriving on the battlefield. Literal peasants with pitchforks. But yeah, now there's a 11-point over here. It's got a beeline its way down. Russia, I imagine, with its cavalry here, it's going to be a pest and try and catch some of these guys on the march. I would go for a charge here. None of these guys can square. He's going to... I feel like he should have gone for charge before these guys formed up. He's missed his chance, really, now. With the Russian infantry coming forward, that, if anything, to antagonize the Ottomans to turn and face. But the Russians need to just slow down this reinforcement arrival as quickly as possible. That other dragoon has returned, but that's going to need to rest up. Because the Russians right now have the Persians and the Ottomans on the run. They try to kick them out of their homeland. Who's this? This is actually the general. This is Javed Khan going in. They've sent him into melee. Here go those massive units here. Abbas and Mirza going in. I'm pretty sure he's the heir of the Persian Empire. Pretty sure. And I think it's Javad Khan is he's still going in. Look at this guy. Javad Khan's going in. I'm pretty sure this is the leader Javad Khan Qajar, because it's the Qajar Persian Empire at this point. They managed to rout the Russians though. Look at that. They got rid of one of them. And that's all because of the general there. Goated general. Really is. But yeah, it looks like, yeah, I mean, actually, did the Ottoman troops actually escape? The Eflak, I think this is the units that were getting encircled. And yeah, the Russians are just crossing wherever. So I think the Ottomans just did the same. Russians just crossing now, and they're going to try and just go straight into melee. What is this unit? It looks like a grenadier. Like the red epaulets going on, and like it's got a wacky. Look at these shakos. What is this? What are these shakos? Are they just like the text is wrong, or is that just like the style they're going for? Very odd, that's for sure. Anyway, those Ottomans there did rout, I think, just the sheer sight of the Russians arriving. The Russians are across. They're battered and bruised, though. They are battered and bruised. They're going to have to concentrate in one area, and an area I would probably concentrate on is the peasants. Attack them, work your way down the line. But with the reinforcements arriving over here, this is not good for the Russian cause. The Russians have done well. I don't know how much more they have left that we can't see, and how much is going to return for them. But time is of the essence for the Russians. They've got to kind of dust themselves off and go again, really, because there's more and more Ottomans arriving, and yeah, there's loads of Ottomans over here that aren't really being challenged by the Russians. The Persians actually recrossed over here, which is what they originally did, and the Russians are going to have to try and push them back, and at least contest this river line a little bit, just to keep the Ottomans over there, so these Russian forces here can deal with the 5 point nice and quickly. And actually, that's a squareable unit, which is not square.
Fallen to the enemy.
I think that's a, yeah, it's a light infantry. It's an L5. And there you go. The Russians dealt with that very nicely. Yeah, I don't know how much the Russians still have left over here. It looks like they are, oh, they actually are going in. They send their cav in. And a frontal assault could have just gone around the flank and done a much better charge there, gone down the side, while these Russian infantry here tried to duel. But yeah, with no general, these guys are kind of really in a bad spot. They really can't do anything morale-wise. It's a shame. This Russian army otherwise could have been a real, even though it's on its own, really could have been quite effective. I don't know why the Russian player assaulted as quickly as he did. Maybe he just felt like he could just get the jump on these. I mean, he kind of got jumped himself by the Ottomans, and then he just kind of, like, after that, he kind of then just carried on just being aggressive. Like, after he routed that first sort of skirmish line, he then just carried on into the next main battle line. Didn't quite work. And he losing his general as well did not help the situation at all. And we got a huge, it's like a 12-pounder here, horse artillery that's been set up. I haven't really used artillery yet over here either to sort of just shred the Ottoman lines. So it seems a wasted opportunity. We've got Russian dragoons again still shadowing the Ottoman reinforcements. Could do with getting a general kill for the Ottomans or the Persians to try and shatter their resolve. That would help massively. Yes, the Russians now, I guess, are just going to reorganize. I think that they're taking a bit of time to gather what forces they can, but by doing so, they're allowing the Ottomans and the Persians to re-rally, reorganize their lines as well, because they still have plenty. And as it's shown, these Ottoman units here, their shooters aren't bad. Certainly, if you're going to make frontal assaults at them, you're in for a bad time. And I think they outrange most of the European armies as well. It's like one of their bonuses, really, to being a faction. They have a bit better range. Still very heavy C1 here as well, but could do a hell of a lot of damage to a Russian infantry line if it gets caught out. But here come the Russians. Seems like they got a reasonable amount to give it a go, but some of their units are pretty banged up. They're going in, like, their battle columns already really narrow. I think just to try and navigate through these streets. Wisely, the Persians are not going to get stuck in the town. They're going to be the Russians are going to be allowed to take the town, it seems, without any real fight. At least the building itself, the LOC. Which at this point, I feel like Russia must control a couple. It controls 2 at least, I think, over on this side here. Yeah, the actually no one controls this one, I guess, because it's been destroyed immediately. And I thought maybe there had been a cav charge. Well, no, I don't think there has been. Oh no, it has. There has. There was that cav that was shadowing the Russian army's been routed, and it looks like by yeah, the Russian cav there shadowing the Ottomans, being routed there by the Persian cavalry. So that's not bad, and I think that might be in the direction that C1 was going in, just to maybe deal with that Russian dragoon. But it has since been dealt with, so they don't really worry about that, which is a shame. It's another cav unit that would have been useful. But I think it was from the army with no general, so morale, I think, was quite low for it, which is why it didn't take too much to rout it. Still got some healthy cav over here, though. It looks like at least maybe 1, if not 2 dragoon units there. No, that's general, I think, just in amongst the dragoon unit. There's another one here, though. Not on white horses, though, which is distinguishes you as a very elite in the Russian army. As you can see, everything's shifting right for the Russians. They do have another little cav out here, so I think that, yeah, they have about 3 or 4 cav units left. This is a hussar there. It could be good for going for generals. But yeah, they're shifting everything right. They're going for the 5-point and what remains of the Persians here. The Persian 9-point as well. No, actually, no, this is part of the 5-point. These are very good. These are really, really elite Persian units, if I remember correctly. And they're solid in melee. So yeah, this will be really tough. And this is where all the money's gone, which I think is why he has just mainly peasants, to be honest, as the 5-point, because he's put most of his money into these guys. I think they are super expensive. Ottomans here, though, I feel like they need to try and swing, maybe at least try and go through the town a little bit. Could try and assault the farmhouse, try and retake that. But yeah, the Russians right now being sort of very single-minded, going straight this way. Ottomans need to put pressure on with their army and don't allow just like the 5 and what remains of the 9 here just to get steamrolled. But here come the Russians. They're in column. They are not slowing down. This is a formation of I'm not slowing. I'm going straight in. Here comes the cav as well. I mean, a lot of these, obviously, these peasant units cannot form squares. The cav should have a great time with them. And here they go. They're going to go in, I think, just this whole blob of infantry here that's all sort of mixed in. And there's a general in there as well, Abbas Mirza. They have fired a bit. Doesn't seem like it's affected morale at all. Yeah, look at that. 1 unit goes, 2 unit goes to the Persians. Really good charge so far. It's going to pass on like wildfire. And that's going to just, you know, do a lot of damage to morale here for a few other units. Yeah, the 9-point units starting to get affected. Here come the Russian infantry going into these peasants. The Russians maybe don't have the size of these units, but they have the ferocity, that's for sure. And they are routing these peasants who've probably just been conscripted. Looks like, yeah, I mean, the cav's still alive, but they probably want to set up and try and charge this unit here. These guys only have pitchforks, so I can't imagine they can do too much. I think they are trying to hunt down the general, though, the 5-point general. I honestly wouldn't worry about it too much. Kill his units off. Kill his peasant units. Get rid of these guys. The Russians going in there from a 2-pronged assault onto them. They are just continuing down the line. Still no real response from the Ottomans. They are sending forward their forces. They're trying to reclaim that LOC. Instead of going for the Russian army. Crazy stuff. There's a lot of fibbing going on here from the Persians. No! Do not fib. Bad. Very bad. And there you go, the Russians. A little late, but they are going to side charge these guys here in melee. Russian infantry needs to get it. Is going into melee there. I don't think they really got a charge off. Might be enough to rout these guys. Second line of the Persians here is setting up, and that's firing into the Russians. Some of that elite infantry going in, trying to deal with the hussars here. Routing Persian units around these elite units, Persian infantry, though, is going to cause them to break, as you can see here. Also getting rear charged by cavalry. It's not going to help the situation. Yeah, the Russian cavalry just continues on. They've murdered this entire line here. That's an incredible coup there. And that's what should not have been allowed to happen. The Russians, like I said, targeted one area. Ottomans didn't go up to support them. Instead, they've just kind of sat back. And they're assaulting this town over here, this LOC instead. The other 11 point has pretty much arrived at this point. He's being chased by a few Russian units. And there goes a general. I think that's the 5 points general. Not entirely sure, but I think that is the case. I don't think I've seen the Khan in a little while, but I think he's safe. Or maybe not. I don't know. Abbas Mirza, both, to be fair, both the generals were around here. Both were running around, trying to, I guess, some rally stuff. But I think it might have been the 5 points that got killed off there. Which is obviously going to affect the remaining troops here, which are in a bit of a line fight. And this is the sort of thing that you don't want to get into with Persia, with these massive units. This is a line fight, because you won't break them very effectively. You just want to get into melee. I mean, they are red lining and orange lining already because of routing forces around them. These units are so big, though they might not hit a lot. There's so many of them to try and shoot and kill and route that way. Always just try and melee. The Russians, though, I think, are just trying to reorganize. I think they're now throwing their weight onto the Ottomans, which are now arriving. They're going to try and melee them instead. So, yeah, they're just trying to defeat their enemies in peace. Bit by bit. So they're going to go through the town, ignore the remains of the Persians here. Because if they carry on into those Persians and then get into this tree line here, they're just going to be met by Ottoman artillery, which is starting to set up and fire. It already is doing so over here with the with a 3-pounder, which is looking the wrong way. It's looking the wrong way because there is, like I said, Russian units still in behind, causing some problems. And it looks like that's odd that zoom in, that unit of artillery didn't load in, but it's about to get killed off here. I think is that unit of artillery. There you go, light cab there. Should get it, I think. Well, not. I guess maybe it's invulnerable when you're pulling it around like that, maybe. Building has been captured. They have managed to actually capture this building from the Russians. There you go, well done to the Turks. The Russians still contesting it, though. And now it's like roles reversed. Now it's the Ottomans that are having to assault this sort of town and these streets here, and the Russians are able to defend them. Just as not long ago, the Ottomans and the Persians were doing just that, and I think the building's been reclaimed by the Russians. Yep, I can see this building is going to change sides quite a few times, I think. And here comes the 5-pointer with some of his infantry, and he's running away, probably because he's going to red line immediately, as you can see from the building. The Russians here just able to just fire onto the Ottomans. Get right under the building. There's a nice strong point for the Russians to try and hold. And you see Russian cav here still being a pain. It looks like it actually managed to rout a few of these retreating big units of gunners that we saw for the Persians here. Yeah, these like huge 298-man units. Managed to get some, but not all. And again, Russian cavalry out on this other flank here being exceptionally effective. It might finally get routed, but it's going to take 2 infantry units with it. Yep, they just about rout. We got some. Oh no, they're the Azaps. They're not even. I thought that maybe they were Janissaries, but they're Azaps, which is another unit that's lasted since like the Middle Ages. There are Azaps in the Ottoman army that like stormed Constantinople. This heavy cav got it. Started getting into position, but it's so slow in getting forward. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the Russians do now. They're going to try and like combine up with those troops that are in their rear, try and then maybe like go through the forest here, and then flank into the guns. Might be the play. They'll get some cover bonuses from being in the trees, which could work, that's for sure. You can see here the Ottomans are going to take a different angle to try and get in here. I don't know whose artillery that is that's firing. It's got to be, I would say it's got to be Russian howitzers, I would have thought. Yep, it is. It is the Russian howitzer itself. So yeah, that's now firing across the river here, trying to blast into all these Ottoman units here, trying to do some morale damage. That's what howitzers do. Yeah, I mean, these Russian units here, that you can see they are going in column, and they are trying to dash to get basically into the fight and support the Russian comrades that are already around the village. If they can just keep these guys on the line fire here, those reinforcements could then just kind of come down the left here. If we're looking from the Russians' perspective, I guess it is now. They can come down the left here and then just take a charge into the side again. The Ottomans kind of doing what the Russians did to the Ottomans and the Persians not long ago, pinning the Russians into this small sort of space here in this courtyard. As the Russians try to defend this, I mean, maybe keep a couple of units here, yeah, granted. But I try and maybe like reoccupy the river line, so when the Ottomans do eventually sort of assault here, you can get multiple lines of angles for your shots. Oh, another howitzer here. Multiple howitzer units, I think. Oh, well, maybe that one might have been just a large battery, I think. We're gonna get great side shots here into these units, that's for sure. Yeah, all these units here just stood on top of each other for the Russians. Not a great idea. The general is dismounted, so evidently his army, whoever this is here, is planning to make a stand here, and this is really blocked up. My gosh, imagine if you had artillery here as the Ottomans blast in. Oh wait, they do. And they just need to turn this gun, and they just need to get it into that mess there. But they might have bigger problems, as the Ottomans are coming out of the woods. Looks like they have got rid of that gun crew there. That is literally like 10 guys have charged into this vast unit of over 300. And who's going to win? The 10 guys win. They did rout themselves, but they took the unit with them, which is insane. And the Russians, yeah, they're coming through the forest, and they're able to now flank across to hit the Ottomans here. Ottomans could lose that other gun, and they are retreating across the river. And yeah, quite literally, roles are reversed. The Ottomans are now attacking from where the Russians came from. The Russians are now defending where the Ottomans have held. Got a horse artillery set up here. They need to limber this up. Or like unlimber this, sorry. Just start blasting into the Russians. That's a Cossack gun there. Yeah, it could do a little bit of damage, you never know. Yeah, Russians in a line fight here against the Ottomans. I don't think this is what they want, that's for sure. Like I said, I mean, these Russian infantry here, they're all mustering up. I think they're just freshening themselves up. And they're going to go in. They're going to hit the sides of these Ottomans here, I have a feeling. And you need to do it sooner rather than later, because otherwise the Ottomans will maybe get wind of it, and they might send some of these reserves to sort of guard the river line. I think you can cross the river just about anywhere here, is what it was suggesting. Looks like Russian cav here and infantry getting rid of the guns. Yeah, a lot of the Russian dragoons over here are operating from a different position. We've got another that horse artillery that's still alive. We can get that across the river maybe somewhere and just start blasting into the Ottomans. It'll also be huge. Yeah, the Ottomans are just running. They are not hanging around. Insane fight so far. It really has been. Whether this heavy cav here can just charge into the mess of Russians down here, give it a go. Problem is the building. They need to really take the building. That's kind of primary concern. But I don't know if the Ottomans really have anything melee capable to do it. But here come the Russians. They were going to cross the river, but since changed their mind, and that's now made it aware to the Ottomans that they could do that, and that those forces are there. So the problem is now is, yeah, he's going to turn and face them. The Russians are sending forward more infantry around the side here. Probably try and get a side charge. This is certainly the most vulnerable position here for the Ottomans. And here comes the cavalry. It is going in. And this heavy C1 goes into tightly packed streets. And tightly packed, there is hundreds of Russians in here. That's one unit rout. Might be followed by a couple of others here if he's not careful. Like I said, the Russian player blobbing up here. It's kind of like you're signing your own death note a little bit in NTW 3. Gonna send in. He took a unit out of the other line, sent it in. Whether it's high melee, no, it's squareable. He's trying to pull units out so he can square. So yeah, unfortunately the replay did just randomly freeze for a moment. I managed to get it to unfreeze. Basically, just stopped recording and restarted. And it seems like it's okay. CPI cav, you didn't really miss anything, just pulled out. As soon as the square appeared, it just basically pulled out of melee. And yeah, we've pretty much left off from where we were, to be honest. The Ottomans now send up infantry to take over the job of just basically blasting into this space here. Yeah, Russians, they need to think of something, because right now this is... I don't think this is working. Here comes more cavalry for the Russians, so they're going to going in for a skirmisher here. Dragoons just getting in, getting those. Where they could continue on and get that general, looks like he's getting out of there out of just safety. There you go, volleys from infantry there, failing to wrap that Russian cav, and he survives another day. If he can get this general though, that would be huge, because he's one of the 11 points, and yeah, it's really the 11-point Ottomans that are, you know, keeping us going. There's 2 here, both pretty healthy, still 11 and 14 left their bodyguard. But yeah, Ottomans won't be trying a melee. Russians might try a melee, we'll see. Looks like they have kind of just unit cross there as they got through columns. Infantry gaps were not really made, but they are now all going in column. Now I think they're just going to give it a go. I mean, if the Russians have kept stuff here to sort of pin the Ottomans looking the other direction, this could definitely work. But I think since now these guys here are turning to face and they've got sort of almost a second line to side shot the Russians, this might be catastrophic for the Russians. Also, looks like artillery is finally going to get silenced here by some peasants, which is very funny. But here go the Russians. And yeah, I think the Russians also made an assault here. Looks like they got forced back by that one unit there, the Bosnian infantry. Azaps here, look, they are probably going to be okay. This unit here, those not looking so great. Russian cav is now coming in. Going in and taking out another, looks like a lion infantry instead of a light. More cavalry coming for the Russians. It's a pretty healthy unit still alive here for the Dragoons. Whether this can smash into something, I don't know. He's going to have to go for maybe a general, or he's going to go for infantry here, these Bosnian infantry. They can't form square in, there you go. They smash through this, then get into generals and more infantry, which would be huge. Looks like the C1s really should just smash into the side of those Dragoons, finish them. Squares are kind of stopping the C1s from going that way, so yeah, here they go into the Dragoons. Ottomans kind of have been forced back, the Russians are doing it, but they are so low on troops now, I think, that they are just slightly out of manpower. More Russians are arriving, but they're a bit slow in their arrival. Why they came this way, I don't know. They didn't just come through the town. Not quite sure. Russia is, I think, just falling back what he can. This one is just going to continue in for some reason. Being shot from so many different directions. There you go. Artillery as well. Trying to do its bit. And they're not going to last. They're just going to get side-shotted. But it was worth it go. The Russians, I mean, they couldn't stay stood in this town. That's for sure. They just were just going to get picked off bit by bit. The Ottomans were just quite happy to stand at range and shoot them. And then eventually, once they are weakened enough, go in. The Russians kind of had to make the move. They should have maybe just waited until their full force. Like, you got 3 or 4 more units over here arriving. I mean, this is a pretty healthy looking Russian unit here that's coming forward. I mean, this is a pretty healthy Jaeger as well. I mean, they're still in the town. Looks like the Ottomans now are going to take the initiative and try and countercharge themselves. Here they come. Bosnian troops going in, leading the way. I think we've got a general bodyguard maybe in the building along with... I don't know, maybe he's not actually. No, he's just stood here. General bodyguard. He needs to get into the building. I don't think he's going to have time. The Russians are sort of getting pushed aside. Looks like the general is actually now going into melee. Insane. Leading from the front like a true Russian. And he has actually routed that Bosnian infantry. But that did so much damage to one Ottoman unit, just routing like 2 or 3 Russians. And I think they are going to try and cram as many troops as possible now into that building, which they need to do. But this might be it. The Russians might just have bitten off slightly more than they can chew. They might be just one too many melees for them. I mean, they did really well to start with to even like overcome this melee. I feel like this one was a bit costly. They've made some odd frontal charges instead of side charges, but this one was well executed over here against the Persians. But again, against that mass of peasants and other stuff. But yeah, it's in the end just one too many charges. And it looks like, I don't want to say anything, I don't want to write them off. It looks like the Turks are going to continue their march on Moscow. Yeah, if you have any great sort of battle replays like this one that was sent in to me, then do send them into my Discord. The link is down below in the description of the video, as it always is. And that's the best place to go to if you ever want to take part in any battles or streams, or if you want to send in your own replays to be featured on the channel, to have your 15 minutes of fame on YouTube. There you go, the building's been reclaimed by the Turks there, so not too bad at all. They've done what they have struggled to do for the past sort of 10 or so minutes. Like these guys, like their hats. They're going into battle with style, that's for sure. Ottoman army really is a bit of a ragtag, no uniform. So not like the Brits or the French. Everyone just kind of just rocks up in whatever they're wearing that day. Apart from maybe these elite infantry here, like the elite cavalry, sorry, and the elite infantry. That artillery piece, it's still, yeah, I don't know why it doesn't load in. Let's just zoom in, but yeah, Russian infantry here, Russian artillery here is just zipping around doing drive-bys. There you go. I think it's finally routed. I don't know why, but it's finally just been killed off. They are going to have to take this building, which the Russians still do actually own. I don't know. Oh, it's just a general bodyguard in here, I think. Or certainly one of the units in there. I don't think there is any... No, there's no Russian infantry. It is just a general bodyguard in there. Anyway, we'll just fast forward now as we wait for the end results, pretty much. And the heavy cav finally gets a bit of a run out in the open ground instead of having to fight in the streets of that town. But yeah, a really, really fun fight. I really enjoyed it. Ottomans, you know, showing that they're not the sick man of Europe. They actually can defeat stuff and, you know, put up a really good fight against the Russians. I feel like the Russians, though, as well. I mean, they lost an army really quickly with that general being sniped over there. It wasn't really well protected. So that kind of took a lot of pressure off that, like single one-on-one over there. But also I think made it some really costly assaults on this town outside here, out over here as well. Another general being killed off. But yeah, I feel like the assault on the grenadiers there was pretty damn like painful, and they lost a lot of troops and cavalry just head-on stuff. But yeah, hopefully the end results for you guys to have a look at. I really enjoyed that one. This was sent in by Johnny the Buffoon, so I think it's from his perspective we were seeing, and he was playing as one of the 11-point Ottomans. I think he was the one on the far right that won his fight really quickly because of the general kill. But yeah, there you go. All the stats and statistics for who got the most kills should be there, so you can enjoy those. And then here are the kills, I think, for Johnny. He got 168 kills here with his Bosnian infantry. And then we got some other infantry here with 141, 130 kills there with some more of this infantry, 116, 113. Azap's there getting 108. Cav getting 105 is the best Cav there for kills. And there are the rest of the kills. You want to have a look at these. Just a vast army of units I do not really recognize, but where they are from. But there you go, guys. That is today's battle. It certainly was a fun one. The Ottomans continue their conquest of Russia as they march on Moscow. And they're going to be backed by the Persians every step of the way, it seems. But yeah, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.